Hi, in this video we're going to continue looking into keyframing, and I'm going to call this video my tips and tricks. What we did in video 1 for the week was very basic: how to create a keyframe, how to delete a keyframe. Here I want to show you a few more things that might make keyframing an easier experience. The first thing is some of the troubles you may run into uh, are double transforms and just weirdness when you're moving some objects. So if I start, especially when you start having parented objects, if I rotate, an arm might start deforming in strange ways, or if I begin to scale, if any of that ever happens, uh, which it will, and it'll frustrate the heck out of you. uh, Here are some things that you can do. For example, on my torso right here, if I go to scale and suppose I wanted to animate the scale, notice when I do so, my whole model comes apart. It's not scaling uniformly. The arms aren't scaling in proportion with the torso. The torso is really long, and so what's going on here? Um, I can zero out my values and modify freeze transforms, but that didn't seem to solve the problem. Uh, Another thing is when you create and edit objects in your inputs, it keeps up with things like any geometry transforms. Lots of times, if you can't figure it out, what you need to do is delete history on an object, which basically takes out any input nodes. So if we go into edit, delete by type, history, and I have the object selected, you notice all my inputs kind of disappear. And now when I scale, uh, it's not having that funkiness. So there's something in one of those creation nodes, input nodes, that was giving me trouble. Another tip, if you want to keyframe all keyable attributes at one time, there is a shortcut key. It's S. Your keyable attributes, meaning translate, rotate, scale, visibility, things you see in the channel box. If I hit S, notice they all turn red, and you have a red bar in the timeline here. A keyframe has been set not for just one like we did earlier, but for all of them. Some people don't like this method because you're setting a lot of keyframes you don't really need. But if your scene is fairly simple, then that information is probably negligible. And I've animated where I just hit S. Like I'll go here, hit S so it holds that first pose, and then, S, go to 40, S, go to 50, oh, S, S, S. You get the idea. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. I want to double click and delete these keyframes and start over. Also introduce you to auto-keyframe. Once you hit auto-keyframe, and as soon as you move the object, it should set a keyframe. It has not set a keyframe because no keyframes have been set for any of the attributes yet. So for auto keyframe to do something, I first have to keyframe one of the attributes. I'm going to do a side to side kind of wobble. So I'm going to keyframe at 0. And now with auto keyframe on, since it's already been keyed, now when I move it to something different, it puts the keyframe for me. I go here, I bring it over here, it automatically so we jump back and play that. Alright, so everything's moving. It's bouncing from here to here to here to here. That's that can be good at times, but there is times when you'll want to hold a value. So suppose we want it, instead of it, as soon as it hits it, it bounces back the other way. Suppose we want it to kind of stick. Well, once this interpolation has already happened, it started to move back. So how can I get this value to stick for a couple of frames? So you can go to that frame and you can middle mouse drag from 20, and now notice usually when I scrub up to the timeline it's playing the animation. Now it's not. It's holding that keyframe. Suppose I want to go to 25 and then key that, and now it's going to go and hold before it comes up. I'll do the same thing here. Middle mouse, drag a few frames, right click, key selected. The thing is, when you want to create a hold, you're not going to be able to do that with your auto keyframe because nothing's changed. So suppose 55, I want to middle mouse click. Then I have to go up here and key that attribute. It holds. There are times when the hold is important for convincing animation.